This is just pretty much another therapy convo for me. Why did I enlist? What was going through my head when I enlisted, and why would I choose to make such a decision? An all consuming decision that pervades into every facet of your life. Why? Why would I not go to college, get an education? Why would I re, re why would I relegate myself to the military, and why not do anything else? Well, I'd say there's a bunch of reasons as to why I did enlist. I did want to go to community college, but my parents wouldn't let me. I would have to go to university. I think it's a prestige issue. I don't know why they wanted me to go to university all 4 years, especially since my view on community college has always been positive. I'm all for community college. Go for it, honestly, because it's low stakes, it's less expensive than university, and it can transfer. So if you were to go to university and you take a bunch of general education courses, boom, go ahead, use it for university. That's actually what I did, and that's what I'm going to do actually. Um, but that was something I had in mind. But my parents are like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to go to university. So I was like, okay. Um, to put into context, my dad did a lot of the applying for me. It sounds really spoiled, and it should, obviously, because it's my future. Why would I, come to think of it, why would my dad come to determine my future? It should be me doing it. That was one of the signs that I knew, like, okay, this is probably not for me at the time. I He applied to UNT, UTD, UT Austin, Texas A&M. I'm not a academically inclined student at all. I think I have to I have to try harder at school than most people. But my I got into UTD. I don't think it's very selective. And I was planning on going with my friend from theater, one of my best friends actually, and we were planning on getting a dorm there and calling it 4 years. He was going to do, I think, video technology. I was going to do psychology. I don't know exactly what career I'd make out of psychology, but I just knew that I was going to major in psychology. It would be something I'd study for the next 4 years, and that would be that. My parents would pay for my education, and my that would be my resumes. I went to college at UTD for the last 4 years, and I've just been educating myself. But it, I never really thought about the military route. I didn't really think at all about the military route, to be honest. But I had an existential crisis, sort of, around senior year. And to explain, I never really. Well, first, let me break off into a tangent. And this tangent will go on into what we're saying. There's this girl I really liked, right? And I was really cold stone to this girl. I was really stone faced. I didn't say shit to her, and I don't know. I think I was more of me liking the idea of someone liking me back, but in all honesty, looking back, she was a really nice person. I don't know why I did the things I did, but that will cover in a video later. But anyway, I was just thinking, in high school, a lot of people around me were getting into relationships. It sounds really stupid, but I and they're getting into relationships. I hadn't gotten into a relationship with a girl, but I was questioning on when I did, let's say I did get into a relationship with a girl, then what would my resume be for, let me reload the screen. What is my, what did I have compared to every other guy my age that they didn't? And any sort of benefactor that I could say is within my name, money, whatever, is not earned by me. It was earned by my parents. And that's when it started to click for me. Like, anything that, any success that I've achieved or gained has really been bought by them, because they're the ones who came to America, got themselves jobs, and were able to succeed on a over a 20-year career time span as of now. And having made everything for me, I felt fucking spoiled. I felt I felt cheated. I didn't want any I didn't have anything to my name. I'm not an impressive person by any means at that point, and to this day I don't think I am either. It is what it is. But if I were to just take everything I had done as an 18-year-old, would it really warrant me to earn someone else's hand in the hand of marriage? Especially because if I was to date an Indian girl, Indian parents are very particular about how much they earn, their social status, what vehicle you drive, whether you own a house, are they independent earners? And truth be told, I didn't know if I was going to make my way out of school as a six-figure earner, and most likely I wasn't gonna. I was probably gonna make five figures, but I knew that I didn't have that work ethic in order to become a Rhodes Scholar or a Harvard graduate or an Ivy League graduate. I wasn't smart enough for that. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't have anything to my name where, like, if someone were to bring me up in a conversation, oh, what is this guy good for? Right? If there was a bunch of people on a boat, right, and we had only one spot to save, would we really save this guy? That's what I really thought in my mind. And when I put it like that, all the people around me, students my age, when I saw they were becoming like prospective nurses or doctors, or they're going to become filmmakers, and what was I going to do? I really wrestled with that inside, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I grew a beard. I'll throw that out there. I grew a beard because um I guess it was just, I don't know why I grew a beard. I had many different hairstyles, and well, hairstyle meaning I didn't cut my hair. And I don't know why. I think it was just like me trying to prove my masculinity or whatever, and it was so come to think of it, it was so cringe. But marriage was one, because if I didn't have something at least sort of respectable to my name, and when you see military, in some connotations, some households, it's like, ugh, military guys, no, we don't want that. That's they tend to associate it with like Marines, and what kind of a reputation they get, like straight out of basic training, and how hard everything is. I went Army, but if I didn't have anything, and I knew that I could get the GI Bill, I could get housing benefits, the VA home loan, and everything like that. And if I could pay my way through college without having my parents to help me, that'd be really respectable. So that was one of the reasons why I did it. And I wanted to, like, if I really did want to marry an Indian girl someday, it's paying, especially in this day's economy, paying your way through your own college education is so respectable, in my opinion. Because, especially if you take loans, that shit takes years to pay off. 40, $50,000, that's not, that doesn't accrue without interest. And I didn't want that. And I knew my parents could probably pay it off without interest rates, without ever it accruing to the principal amount, but I was just, no, fuck that. Another reason was me being purposeless. I didn't know what I was going to do in college, and I didn't want to waste any money towards an education in which I didn't know if I was going to have a job in the job market, especially now. The job market is so oversaturated with people who are overqualified than I am, right? And especially in a field like psychology, and they still can't be able to find jobs. And when I put myself into the equation, what did I find? I probably was going to have no job. I was probably going to work minimum wage at um, Comic Cleaners. That's the place I was working while I was in high school, so I could earn money and generally not feel like a piece of shit because I just couldn't. I have to do something. I especially now, like sometimes if I sit around, I just get sort of depressed, and ways I combat that is either I go to the gym, I knock out some pull-ups at the park, and then I go to the gym, and then I do that, or I take the car and I go roaming. But that's neither here nor there. Another reason was college tuition would pay for my college. And I'd say another reason was because I didn't feel like my life really amounted to anything. I was in theater, in high school theater, right? And I was taking myself so seriously in acting. Looking back at it now, it's cringe. If I have like still those tapes of me like acting and um, trying to evoke tears from my eyes, because there was this one play I did. It was called The Women of Lockerbie, and it's a real story. It's based on a real story, based on a true tragedy. It's very unfortunate. Um, that's a whole other story. I'll tell that another time as well. But I saw my peers in theater, and well, not even that. It was really the high school graduation, I'd say, and how how much of a kick in the gut I really needed to understand this is real life. You've been living on a safety net in high school. I seen everyone with their own friend groups, and it was just me. Some people came to congratulate me, some people did, and I just felt empty knowing what it would all like amount to. And I just it was on that was like the first kick in the gut. And then when I actually landed in Georgia at reception, which is the place they in process you in, and they do a lot of admin work. It's a bunch of BS. You don't get a lot of sleep there. And when I first got my phone call to call my parents, I broke down. I bawled. I was crying on the phone because it was the first time I'd been away from home, and it was so. I hated that place, 30th AG, man. If you've been to 30th AG, you don't get a lot of sleep. You have to go through a lot of You have to go through like CIF draw. You have to. Some people get the peanut butter shot. I was lucky. I never really got the peanut butter shot. They have to get various shots, eye exams. They have to get a haircut. I was bald once, and come to think of it, oh god, that was not a good time. I'll put a picture up and show how it was when I was bald before I went to basic. And it was the first time that I really experienced that I didn't appreciate how good my life was up until then, especially Frisco. As I love Frisco now, man. There's so many things to do in Frisco. There's so many restaurants I haven't tried, and I would just go to McDonald's with my friends and stuff my face with fucking double cheeseburgers. I don't even think to know there were so many other restaurants that I could have tried. So many people I could have befriended. So many how many girls I wish I could have talked to, and all of that sort of came to a forefront when I was at 30th AG and I've had that first phone call to my parents. I bawled. I was like, holy fuck, what have I done? And I don't regret it. I'm glad I did it because I think if I had gone to UTD, I'd have been a more close-minded person. I would have been more, I guess, lacking of perspective. You know how Thor, he gets banished to the real world. That was sort of my Thor moment right there. Is like I got banished. Well, I enlisted into the army, and that was my Thor moment right there. That was like my steps into the cold world, and that really just accentuated to me like this is it. This is what it all leads up to. And when I think about all the misery that I've had in the army, sometimes I feel like I deserve it for one, underestimating how good I had it, and two, because some people are just treated like shit. Um, Especially like my mom, my parents, and my sister, even in the teenage years when I was still figuring myself out, and to this day, I think I still am. And it I kind of did deserve it. It was really karma. And I saw the girl, she moved on. She found another guy, which is great. At first, I was jealous and I was like, fuck. But then I look back at her and I'm like, if you really want it, if you really like this person, you should want her to be happy and be successful. And, that's good that she is. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm being so vulnerable about it now, but it was. Sometimes you look back on missed opportunities and you think, "Oh man, damn it." But it's okay because at the end of the day, I think this was that learning experience that I needed to really sort of hit home that I did this, and this is what you sow. This is the seeds that I put into the dirt. Now you're gonna fucking water it, and now you're gonna fucking sow it. And I talked about my porn addiction in my earlier video, and that's a private video right now. I'm gonna make it public. I was so incoherent in that video, but I think this is like this was the path that I needed in order to, I guess, grow as a person, and during the bullshit that I was in the military. And to this day, I don't like talking about it really. I don't like being the center of attention about that shit, because coming back to an area like Frisco, and I mean it's fair because a lot of people don't understand how the military lifestyle is and how all consuming it is. And but it really, I really thought about making this video because I just saw someone in a pickleball tournament, and this guy claimed he was former army. He was like, he was trash at it. The other guy was beating him. This Asian guy starts raging. He's like, "Oh my god, fuck you," and just started hitting pickleballs at this other guy who's fucking trashing him. And he was claiming like, "Oh, I was former military. If I could, like, I came in to kill people." And for some people, that's what it is. And I'm in the infantry, so like, I'm not gonna shy away from that fact. Like, I'm in a job of killing people. That was one of the reasons I joined too. Is that so I could get a not I don't get a thrill out of killing people. How do I say it? But I did something that was exciting. I did something that I could talk about. In my 18 years of having lived, I didn't feel like I had anything to talk about, any interesting stories. Especially back when I was in theater, I felt like the most boring person there. I sat in a corner, and I would try and involve myself, but if I did, it would be something either really cringy, nothing interesting. And when I heard that this one guy was going to, everyone was this filmmaking school. Everyone was like, "Wow, he's living out his passion. He's going to school for what he wants," and that was totally wow. Like, I've never really seen someone actually take the courage to, because that takes balls doing, to go to college with all that money you have to pay, and to try and find that passion. But that was wow. Okay. And so when they did that, I just felt like nothing. So I think this was like to compensate for my lack of me not having any stories to tell. But here we are, 2 years later. um, Especially, I didn't drink leading up to it. I didn't do anything risky leading up to it. I was just, I just existed. I didn't live. And come to think of it now, like, I just feel like I existed. I didn't live. And that's something, but I don't regret it at the same time. I wouldn't do it again, but I don't I don't regret it for all that it's taught me. My experience in the army, and the when I came back and I was talking to other people and seeing how they had a good love life, they're having a prospecting love life of whether they have a girlfriend or not, or they're successful in what they do, they're happy in what they do. Because I wasn't happy for the last 2 years, but it really, it makes me want to go out and want to live my life, especially having been so purposeless. But once I did something, and once I tried to do something to get out of that purposelessness, it really engaged me into further purposelessness. But it just made me wonder, like, why am I doing this? Why do I hate life so much? There's so much to live for, there's so much to enjoy. And I hope for anyone who's feeling this way, was feeling like, is there really a point to whether you're an altruistic person and you keep doing a lot of good stuff, but you see, um, I won't name names, just undoing good things and having to build back those building blocks just for it to get cut down again. Do you really think that it's ever going to amount to anything? And maybe it won't. That's the truly depressing part. But at the end of the day, it's just we have ourselves, we have life, and whatever you find purpose in, whether it's helping others or whatever, that you find some sort of fulfillment and happiness. Ayushman Baba. I don't know. Um, but I really hope that in my future endeavors, whenever I do get a full fledged civilian job, that I can find a sort of contentment and sort of peace with myself. Because I sometimes I feel like I deal with that sort of um, like self-loathing, but at the end of the day, I just don't want anyone to. I just don't really want anyone to. I don't want to be the reason that. Um, what's the word?